Hello, my name is Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, and today we're going to talk about NFT verbiage. In this space, there is a lot of confusion about some of these words. There's a steep learning curve as you're getting into this. So even if you're someone who's coming from the world of crypto, which is its own language in itself, but getting into this NFT space, maybe you are not one who ever traded Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of those coins, but you are now into this NFT space and you're hearing a lot of words that are just confusing you, whether it be on Twitter or Discord or just on YouTube or wherever else. So this video is really geared towards that. We're just going to go over some of these words in the Nifty space, and it should help you to understand what people are talking about in this community a little bit better. So first and foremost, we're going to say Nifty. Nifty is just an abbreviation for, or not really an abbreviation. It's actually turning NFT, which is an acronym, into a word that we use regularly, maybe more so in the past, something being neat and cool. Well, the NFT space is definitely neat and cool, and the word Nifty is just a play on the word NFT, or the acronym NFT, and turning it into a word. So if you hear that, it's really just referring to NFTs. And NFT, when I first heard this term, I was very confused. I actually heard about it on Clubhouse. I was seeing it as room titles, and I thought it had to do something with NSFW, which is not safe for work. I thought it was something like some kind of code acronym meaning don't go into this room if you're not in a private space. But NFTs has nothing to do with that. What it is non-fungible tokens. And a non-fungible token is really a complex word, but to understand what that means, you first have to break down and understand the word fungible. Fungible is something that's just not unique. For example, a US dollar or a penny or whatever it is. Really, if somebody wants $1, it doesn't matter which dollar it is. There might be some sentimental value attached to one specific dollar, maybe a lucky dollar or something, but at that point it becomes non-fungible. But fungible, it doesn't matter if it's this dollar, that dollar, it doesn't matter. I'll just accept it for, if I'm selling something for $1, I'll take it. A Bitcoin, it really does not matter because it is fungible, meaning it's irreplaceable. Can be exchanged for another one, and it makes no difference. Now, the opposite of that is non-fungible, which is something that is unique. So each of these NFTs, these non-fungible tokens, which go into what a token is unique to itself. It can be tracked, it can be verified, and it is unique. It has a unique property. And the best way I could possibly think of this is thinking of a piece of art, right? So when the artist draws the original or paints the original, that has a value to it, right? People will pay millions or infinite amounts of money for a work of art. Now, if you photocopy that or take a photo of it and reproduce it and print it out and send it out 1,000,000 times, well, yeah, sure, it looks the same, but it is not quite the same. So that's what the fungibility and the non-fungibility of these tokens are actually doing, is it's verifying the uniqueness of it, and it cannot be copied. If you have the original, you can always verify it and go back to the blockchain to prove that this is the original. So in the case of the painting, all the steps that you'd go through to verify that this is an original Picasso, for example, versus someone who just photocopied it, that's the steps that you would do for these tokens. And now token, simply put, a token is a thing, right? A thing that can be traded, it can be tangible, or in the case of some of these, it is non-tangible. But simply put, a token is just something that can be exchanged. It is a thing, right? So you're going to hear a lot about chains, and a chain is short for a blockchain. So depending which blockchain you're interacting with, that is where the token itself, the NFT, is stored upon. So whether it is the Wax blockchain, Ethereum, Cardano, Solano, there's so many blockchains coming out, and each of these have different usabilities, different user bases, and different pros and cons. But when someone says, okay, what chain is it trading on, or what chain is it going to be on, they mean which blockchain is it going to be on. A wallet is, as it sounds, a wallet is where you're storing not only your crypto, which is your coins, your money, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and whatever, but in the case of NFTs, you're also storing these NFTs, these non-fungible tokens, in a wallet. So where do you have this stored digitally? It's in your wallet. And again, whether it's the Anchor wallet. It could be the Wax wallet. It could be MetaMask, which is, the majority of the Ethereum NFTs are going to be in MetaMask somewhere. Solana would be in Phantom or one of the other ones. Tezos has their own wallet, quite a few, which are hard to say because Hicket Nunk and all that stuff. For some reason, Tezos just seems to have like these difficult words that they name of these things, whether it be Latin or whatever it is. So even their wallets, Kuakai, or even their wallets have unique names that are hard to say. So, but yeah, that is where the NFTs are stored. When you hear roadmap, well, what's the roadmap for this project? What's the big plan? In the sense of a business, it would be, what is the business plan? What are they going to do going forward? So when you hear people talk about what is the roadmap for this project, that's what they mean. How are they planning to build upon this? Is this just a one-off? They're releasing something? Or is this building towards a game? Will this be tradable? Is this going to turn into a show? What is the goal for this? How will the sales be distributed to the community and such like that? Charity, all these different things will be outlined in a roadmap before a project launches, or in the sense after a project launches and they want to build on it and they release things in iterations and in stages, it will be released in the roadmap. When you hear the term drop, now think back to like the 70s, 80s, 90s. For those of us, I'm like, oh, when's the album going to drop, right? When is it going to be released? When is it going to come out? And that term really has transferred over into NFTs. So when is the NFT going to drop is when is it going to be released? When is it coming out? And we have these drop dates, we have drop calendars, and it's just really, it brings me back to the 90s when we're talking about when's the latest and newest album going to come out? When is it going to drop? Airdrop is when it is pushed out, basically. Think of it as being a push notification. You know how your phone will push out notifications from whatever app it is? Well, think of that, but with NFTs. So let's say you are a holder of a previous NFT that was released by a particular creator. Well, they can airdrop it to all the holders of that NFT. So let's say, I'm just going to use a simple example of a Dunkin' Donuts coffee NFT, and everyone that bought one of those coffee beans, they can push out a NFT of a mug, right? So all the holders of the coffee now have a mug. And that's just a silly example, but that's what an airdrop is. You're pushing it out. So it's not someone who's actively going and signing up or purchasing and doing an extra step. It's someone who already has something and they're just being airdropped. It's going to be pushed out to them automatically. Now, mint, the best way to think of mint when they're speaking about, the mint of the NFT is to think of a coin. When a coin is minted, it is pressed out, it is made, and that's what the word mint is really referring to. When is the NFT, the mint of it? It is when it was produced, when it is created, when it's actually stamped out onto the blockchain. And in the sense of a low mint or a high mint, in the sense that the original one, the number one mint, usually carries the highest value because it was the first one made. So think of it this way. The first dollar that came off of the first the plate would be a collector's item because that was the first one ever made. Or if you think of back to the Gutenberg Bibles, right? The Gutenberg press, the printing press, those first Bibles that were printed on the press, because this was the first industrialized produced thing, it has a lot more value than all these Bibles that come after the fact because they weren't the originals. So that is just a way to look at it. So some people say, oh, what's the mint number, and collecting low mints and so forth. And the higher the mint, generally speaking, it has lower values because it's been copied that many more times. Gas is really referring to the fees on a particular blockchain. And of course, Ethereum is by far where the most transactions are as far as dollar volume, not necessarily quantity, but where the dollars are, it's on Ethereum. And gas refers to the fees that are associated with transacting on Ethereum. Now, these fees are to incentivize all these people because remember, the blockchain is not like a central corporation like, say, Amazon or something. There are people and computers and systems all over the world that's processing and updating this blockchain to incentivize them to keep processing all of these transactions around the world. They are given a percentage of the transaction, and that's what the gas is. So when you hear the term gas wars, it's very big when it comes to NFTs because during peak releases, again, especially on Ethereum, the gas prices will shoot up. To incentivize those that are processing all the transactions to do one over the other, a higher reward is given to them. So think of it just as being like rush hour, right? If you take the train during a commute, during rush hour, those tickets cost a lot more. And that's really what happens with a gas war. Let's say a very big release is coming out, a very big drop, and a lot of people are trying to do a lot of transactions. It's going to slow down the network. There's going to be a bottleneck. So basically, they raise the prices in order to process these things. And it's just like a ticket fee, right? So during rush hours, those train tickets are going to be more, while gas wars is referring to trying to battle it out because each user is basically bidding what they're going to pay, and the highest bidder gets their transaction processed first. So you'll also hear a term play to earn, P2E, and that refers to a game that you'll play that you can actually earn real world money, real world income from playing. And it's not like just digital tokens and points that stay within the game. You can actually convert them out to other crypto and US dollars or whatever fiat currency that you're operating under. And that's what play to earn, P2E. The opposite of that would be play for fun, P4F. You might see those abbreviations. This is a play to earn game or a play for fun game, meaning if it's play for fun, meaning you can't earn any real world dollars. It is just maybe a blockchain game that is for fun. There's no dollars to be earned from it or no crypto to be earned from it. One of one refers to the piece that is minted, meaning it's one of a kind. Only one of that is minted. There will be no more. It's built into the contract how the thing is. So even if someone, let's say, decides to re-release it or do a second edition, it will never be the original. So that one of one only has one mint. It is the one edition of that one kind, one of one. And you'll see a lot of this in the generative art space. And when I say generative art, I mean a lot of the projects that you'll see, such as the Bored Apes and the CryptoPunks and so many others. These are generative projects, and they're one of one. Each of them is unique. All 10,000, 8,000, whatever it is, 14,000. Each piece has multiple layers and attributes that is randomly generated through code, whether it be Python or whatever code is being used. So let's say there are 8 different attributes, such as glasses, hats, shirts, color of the character, background, any special effects, things like that. Each of those are put in as a layer. Now, based on the percentages that is put into the code, like I said, whether it is Python or whatever coding language it is written in to make, okay, this is a 1% chance of getting this t-shirt. This is a 1% chance of getting that t-shirt, or a 0.00001% chance of getting these glasses, makes it a very rare one. And that is how generative art projects are made. They could be hand drawn, they could be computer drawn. It doesn't really matter, but at the end of the day, the generative project, the code is going to randomize it so that each one that is generated is going to be unique with different rarity attributes. And shilling, now this is one of the words that I was hearing a lot, and I had no idea what that means. Like shill. Shill, simply put, is just selling, promoting, and all those different things. And if you look it up, really, it's an old word which we really do not use anymore until this NFT space came up. But basically, a salesman that's just trying to a snake oil salesman trying to sell the next product and push it on you, and that's what the word comes from. So when people say shilling a project or stop shilling, no shilling in this Discord, no shilling in this group, there's too much shilling going on here, it just means that they're self-promoting and trying to sell their project. Staking means that basically you are tying up those assets towards some kind of yield or reward. So for example, you might stake some tokens towards a project that lets you get into the governance, meaning that you get to have some input as to which direction the project goes. Or in the case of, say, Wax with Our Planet, you can stake NFTs and earn a yield on it. You tie up those NFTs within the Our Planet ecosystem, and then you get Ether in return, and you can use that Ether to purchase things within the game, or you can convert that out into Wax and eventually into Ether, whatever it is. But basically what that means is you're committing that up, you're tying that up for some kind of yield in some sense. Web 3.0 is just the general overview, because now, this is just shifting just specifically from NFTs to the whole Web 3.0 landscape. Web 3.0, to understand what that is really the decentralized web, and that's the next phase that we're we're into the tip of the iceberg right now, and we're going into is this whole Web 3.0. Web 1 was, just static web pages, back in the 90s when a company would just say, oh, this is what our company is, this is what we do. And it was just a very boring, mostly text web space. And then Web 2.0, things start to get more visual and graphic. And that's when all these blogs started to come up with a lot of pictures and images. And instead of static web pages, it was a dynamic web page, which was changing a lot. And of course, during this era, this is when the YouTubes and the social medias and all these things come out, because it is just static, it is dynamic and constantly changing, which is opposed to the Web 1, which was very static. Well, Web 3 now is going to be a decentralized model of that. Instead of all the data and everything being stored on a huge system such as, or within a huge data bank, such as what Facebook has, or Amazon, or Netflix, or any of these companies where all this information is being stored centrally, we have the decentralization now of everything. And that's where the NFTs, the DeFi, crypto, all these different things are coming in, falling under Web 3. And we're seeing a lot of programs and things popping up into that. But really, that's how it fits into the landscape of this whole NFT thing. And DeFi, as I just mentioned, decentralized finance. It's a word that's going to come up a lot as far as, because a lot of these communities, whether it be crypto, the NFTs, the DeFi communities, they intersect at some point, because we have the currencies that we're interacting with, whether it is the Ethereum or any of the other ones, to buy these NFTs. So you're going to say, okay, where am I going to buy this? Well, decentralized finance is, as opposed to going to the old school system of a central bank or a big Bank of America or a Barclays Bank or whatever it is around the world, now these decentralized financing mechanisms allows you to interact peer-to-peer. You're able to convert from one coin into the other, or do these transactions directly from peer to peer. So there is no central hub per se, and it is decentralizing. It is scattered across different nodes across the world, where all these different computers set up all over the place are processing and verifying everything on the blockchain. Tokenomics is something that you're going to hear a lot, especially more so in the crypto side, but definitely with NFTs, because a lot of these projects end up making their own tokens. And in the Discords, you'll hear, well, what's tokenomics for this project? And tokenomics is basically the economics of the token, meaning the number of tokens, how is it going to be produced, how is it going to be awarded, how is it going to be destroyed, or deflation, inflation, how are all those things being managed, how is it being governed, and all those different things, which, in the old world, it would be a central bank making all of those decisions. But now it is the computers, the code, and the community that is making that away from a central hub, a central bank or authority. And a DAO is just a decentralized autonomous organization. So what that means is there is, again, no central model. And how these things are set up is a group of people can pool their crypto. It's really the crypto community that invented this. But they pool their resources, they pool their coins, and it allows them to have a governance over something, whether it be a purchase that they're making or a project. And in the case of NFTs, a DAO can decide actually the direction of the project, the next stage added onto the roadmap. So just recently, one of the DAOs that just made some headlines was Constitutional DAO. One of the original copies of the Constitution, I believe it was 18 that were originally made back in the day when the Constitution was written and ratified, was up for auction, and Constitutional DAO pooled their money together of $42 million, and they, as an organization, were putting in bids to be able to get one of these copies. The DAO unfortunately didn't win. The auction went up to $46 million. But when it comes to an NFT project and everything, the community, the holders of, let's say, a Bored Ape or a whatever community it is that is built around these NFTs can then put their input into the direction of the project, which is very cool. And that is not something that could have really happened in the past where, sure, you might have a vote casted, but because it is decentralized and is an autonomous organization, meaning that each of these people that are casting their votes, they have actual power and input into the direction of it. And it's not just someone rooting for the direction of the project, but you're actually invested in making decisions in the project. So those are just 23 of the words that are floating around a lot in the NFT space. And I really could have went with a lot more words, but I just thought 23, I don't know, Mike. I just thought, 23, Jordan, all that. Once I hit 23, I was like, okay, cool, I could stop right here. But those are the main ones. And then, of course, I dipped into some Web 3.0. But at the end of the day, these are words that are going to be thrown around a lot. And, when you're first coming into the space, trying to understand, okay, what does that stuff mean? It could be difficult, especially if you jump into a Twitter space or a Clubhouse room or whatever it is, and these people are just throwing around all these acronyms and throwing out these words. You're like, whoa, I am in way over my head. I don't know what I stumbled into, but I need to be out, right? So that's what this is, hopefully able to help you overcome that, because I know when I came into the space, I was like, what are all these words? And I was Googling things every second. So hopefully I saved you some time and you're able to use this information. So while I was editing the episode, I realized I missed out the last word. So technically there are only 22 on this list. 23rd word I added into the podcast, which is the Nifty Business Show, which you can listen for Apple Podcast or Spotify. I'll put the link in the description. However, I did not go back and refilm it and put the video in. So I apologize, but hopefully you enjoyed the rest of the episode. And I didn't get to the magic number of 23 for Jordan. I had 22 in this particular episode. And as another side note, what I want to clarify is that I said the NFTs are stored in the wallet. Technically, they're stored on the blockchain, however, they're through the wallet. So when you're going to look at them or you're going to show them to other people or you're going to send them or transact with them, you're going to log into your wallet. And that's where the keys to access them are. But I just want to clarify that in case there's any confusion around the topic. So until next time, later.